Oh God, that voice. I don't think there'll ever be anyone who has a voice like that.
I never met anybody that I was a quicker friend with and that I felt like, boom, talk to that guy for an hour and I felt like that guy's my best friend.
To me, he's the finest male vocalist ever. He had such control that you didn't know when he was slipping into a falsetto voice nor out of a falsetto voice. It was perfect.
I was all right for a while. I could smile for
What I loved about him is like, I'm part redneck and part poet, and he's the same way. He was from we really relate, I think, because we're from small towns, and you kind of, you're looking at the world from a distance.
He enjoyed his time in Wink. He wrote some music here right up through 1960. This is where he honed his skills. It really reaches you inside. It's soulful music, and I've heard many people say that it is lonely stuff. He once said that lonely is sitting in the back seat of a car in front of your house in 1959, 1960, and writing a song. He said that Wink was a lonely place.
Like they say, you wink and you miss it. So, there's a lot more to this old world than a bunch of oil derricks.
Pretty much there was just one road through town, a couple of little things to do. He told me that he once walked 2 miles for a piece of chewing gum. And when I was there, I saw it was about 500 yards. And so in his memory, it was longer. So between things he told me and what I saw, I got to understand the truth a little bit better.
My dad had gone through the 70s and ended up, getting rid of his management and having a heart attack and going through all this crazy stuff, and wanted to really make a run at being successful and very famous again. And Austin City Limits was one of the beginning moves that he had made.
There was a certain mystique about Roy from the moment he walked through the door. And, we were lucky if we got a glimpse of him before he came up on stage, and didn't really show up in the studio until literally right before showtime. When Roy stepped on that stage and opened his mouth and hit the first note of music, it was obvious this was going to be a special night. And I just had goosebumps.
The Roy Orbison that I remember is very well documented in the Austin City Limits show in 1982. That guy was my best friend. This early 80s period, just the way he looked, his hair, and the vibrato was different than in early. It wasn't quite as confident as early years and wasn't quite as mature as it was in the later years. It's very vulnerable.
just running square.
Roy couldn't have been more gracious and fun and supportive. Not everybody can say they got to sing with Roy Orbison. I'm very honored that I was able to have that experience.
He was a really sweet man. He was one of the nicest men I ever met. I guess it's a sign that not everybody who's genius and not everybody who's talented, they don't have to be jerks too. He is the top of his craft. I mean, there is nobody like him, and there's not going to be anybody like him. There's only one Orbison.
He never broke, it was never a joke to him. He never missed a show unless he was in the hospital, period, And so the gravity that he held everything and the seriousness and the sadness of his songs is hard to imagine how funny that guy was. You know, so you lose someone like that, it's like a light bulb going out.
I was just really glad to have that documented, you know, so we could see that his live show was the real deal, you know.
Afraid to
I don't know how he crammed so much experience into a life so short, 52 years. Roy's appearance on Austin City Limits is a time capsule from 1982 of what he was like in that time, and it stands up really well with any other periods. Because he was from Texas, he was showing off a little bit for the Texans. Even at that age, I could sense the teenager in him wanting to just show off a little bit.
And then he comes back in and just obliterates the last note. He goes so much higher than that high C and then drops back down to it to let you know. And it's cool because you could see that like little moment of pride when he pulled it off.
And when it was over, he was off the stage, gone out the door, and into the night.